So as I was preparing this lesson for you guys today, I noticed something in verse 16 that I didn't notice before. This is a biblical mystery, a sort of code in the Bible that I will reveal once we get to verse 16. Today we're covering Proverbs chapter 3, verses 1 through 16. So it's the last verse. Actually, the last about 5 verses contain some deep, life-changing wisdom. So stick with me throughout today's lesson. If you're new here, my name is Chris Foss. I teach biblical mysteries or biblical spirituality and help this make sense, because a lot of the Bible doesn't really make sense if you take it literal. So we dive to a much deeper level and start to understand it from a spiritual, esoteric level. All right, so we're going to dive right in. We're going to start with verse 1, and that reads, "My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments." Now here we break everything down verse by verse. The first verse, we have to pay attention. It says, "Let thine heart." So one thing I also discovered in the Bible that may surprise you is the word emotions or emotion is not in the Bible at all. Now our entire lives are driven by emotion. Why is this word not in the Bible? It's because the Bible is coded. It uses different words. When it's talking about the heart, it's talking about your emotions. So, my son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. Let the law of God be in your heart. Let that emotion drive your life. Verse 2, "For a length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee." So we don't just follow the law of God because we're afraid to go to hell. No, we follow the law of God because it gives us length of days and long life and peace and happiness, as we'll talk about later in this video. That's why we follow the commandments of God, because we know the fruits of living a life of righteousness, of trying to live for the Spirit instead of living for the flesh. So here, if you're new to this channel, you're not going to get information, you're not going to get condemnation, and you're not going to get told that you're going to go to hell. No, you're going to get told that, if you follow the commandments, like the Bible says, it is for length of days and long life and peace. So verse 3 says, "Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck and write them upon the table of thine heart." So mercy and truth, let not mercy and truth forsake thee. What does this mean? Well, in another translation I looked at, it says love and faithfulness. So don't let love or faithfulness leave you. Lead a life driven by love and faithfulness. Don't allow it to leave you. And bind it about thy neck and write it on the table of your heart. So obviously this isn't like literal. There's not a table on your heart and you're not going to bind something around your neck. What it means is the neck and the heart on the body are places of higher consciousness. See, below the heart is the lower consciousness, the animal nature, the animal desires, the passions and pleasures of the flesh. Below the heart, above the heart is higher consciousness, higher states of consciousness. We'll get into this in other videos as well. This is what it's pointing towards. Verse 4, "So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and men." So this is pretty self-explanatory. You will find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and men. Let's move forward to verse 5. "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding." Many of you have probably heard this verse before. This is powerful. See, the verses that I wrote in green, we're going to spend a little bit more time on. Lean not unto your own understanding. We have a mind, right? We can think for ourselves. We have free will. But our own understanding is extremely limited. Just think about it for a second. God, the creator of everything, that which is beyond time, space, and matter, beyond the mind. Would you rather that power lead your life? Or would you rather your own limited mind, limited understanding lead your life? See, you could read every book in every library in the world, which would take a lifetime, so you probably couldn't do it this life. But you would still only know a fraction of this life. So that's why we're not supposed to lean onto our own understanding. We're supposed to pray, we're supposed to fast, we're supposed to ask God for guidance in life. Lean not unto your own understanding. Verse 6, "In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." I wrote up here, in all your ways, everything you do in life. You ever notice, I like boxing. Let me just give you an example really quick. I like boxing. There's actually a good boxing fight on here soon. But think about the fighters who, once they finish their fight and they get a great win, the first thing they say is, I want to thank God for, for giving me the opportunity to do this and XYZ. This is because they acknowledge God in everything they do. They realize it's not them that's doing it. Of course, you have to have discipline, you have to do the work, you have to put in the effort, but behind that is the power of God. Simply look at it like this: your breath. Simply just to breathe, God has to be there. So we have to acknowledge God in everything that we do. And then in verse 7, it says, "Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil." Same thing as lean not unto your own understanding. We have to be not wise in our own eyes. As soon as we think we are wise and we are something big, something great, there's a problem if you're not giving that to God. Because the wisdom that you have received in your life and that you will receive in the future comes from God. So don't think that it's you, because once you start to get a big head, things will start to crumble. Pride comes before the fall. And when I'm speaking this to you guys, I'm obviously speaking it to myself as well. So, verse 8, "It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones." So I was like, what does navel mean? I looked it up. I have this app. I always go and I check the Hebrew meaning of the word. Because if you don't know the Hebrew meaning of some of these words, you would not know what the Bible is trying to tell you. So I have this app and I looked up, what does the word navel mean? And it actually means a string. But what does a string mean? It's going to be health to a string. Well, it actually points towards the umbilical cord in this area of the body. But figuratively, so you have to look at the figurative meaning of these words. Figuratively, it means center of strength. The navel, also in the Eastern cultures, when you're looking at the chakras, is the solar plexus chakra. This is the place of your power, your identity. It's yellow. It's the color of the sun. This is the navel. So it's going to give health to your navel and marrow to your bones. In verse 9, "Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase." So what does this mean? It means give glory to God in all that you do. The first thing that you must do in all of your accomplishments, achievements, even when you're about to embark on a journey or something, honor God with the first fruits of your thoughts, the first fruits of your actions, the first fruits of your accomplishments, the first fruits of the substance that you achieve in the world. Honor God with that. This can come in the form of giving to charity, helping in some way with your energy. You don't have to necessarily give money. You can give your time, you can give your energy. This is what it's pointing towards. Verse 10, "So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine." I wrote on here, visualize this. Visualize barns full of plenty, an abundant farm, and your wine presses bursting with new wine. It gives you it paints a picture so that you can actually visualize what abundance looks like, what will happen if you honor the Lord with all of your substance and with the first fruits of all of your increase. Then you will have an abundant life. God will bless you abundantly if you honor him in everything that you do. Is this making sense? If so, leave a comment down below. Let me know how this is going for you. We're going to move forward to verse 11. "My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delights." So, chastening also means discipline. Don't despise discipline. When you do something wrong, when you go against the ways of God, you will notice there will be some sort of consequence or repercussion. This is God basically disciplining you. And when I say God, I'm not speaking of a man up there somewhere. If you haven't watched my video, you cannot understand God or the Bible without knowing this. I'll put it up here. Watch that video so you know what God is. If you think God is a man up there disciplining you and casting spells down on you, that's not what's happening. The universe is a universe of cause and effect. If you create an action, if you express energy, it's going to come back to you in some sort of way. This is all that's happening, and this is personified as the discipline of God. So don't despise that, because it's only there to help you excel and move forward in life and learn and gain wisdom and knowledge and understanding. A lot of people are like, oh, why is this happening to me? Why me? Why me? Because God is disciplining. He's molding you into the person that you need to become. Don't despise that. See it and learn from it. And then, change your ways. This is what we have to do. And then it says, happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. So, you want to be happy in life. I'll give you the formula. Wisdom plus understanding. That's exactly what it says here. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. Now look at the word finding. We have to find wisdom. Now, in the previous chapter, it says wisdom cries out at the street. At every corner of the street, she cries out. Wisdom's there, it's everywhere. But we have to find it. We have to have a heart that wants to, we have to seek. It says it's the honor of God to conceal a thing, and the glory of kings to seek out a matter. So we have to seek the wisdom in order for it to be added unto our lives. And then it goes on to talk about how amazing, how desirable wisdom truly is in verses 14 and 15. It says, for the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. So there you have it. Wisdom is greater than silver, than gold, than rubies. All of the things that people desired so much back in the day, and now the things that people desire so much today can be figuratively, metaphorically, silver, gold, and rubies. This is what people want. Wisdom is much greater than all of these things, because once you get wisdom, then those things will be added to your life. If you're seeking those things without wisdom, first of all, you will lose them. And second of all, you won't know what to do with them. You won't know what to do with your riches. It will destroy you. That's why you must have wisdom first. Wisdom is the principal thing. Verse 16, this is the last verse, and this is where I'm going to reveal this mystery here. So length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Okay, so who is her? Who is she? Well, she is wisdom. Right hand, left hand. What does this mean? In her left hand is length of days, right? No, right hand is length of days, and left hand is riches and honor. When the Bible talks about God's right hand, the right hand of wisdom, or the left hand, it's talking about the right and left brain. The right hemisphere of the brain, the left hemisphere of the brain. The left hemisphere of the brain is logic. It is reasoning. It is intellect. It is void of spiritual mercy and love and kindness. The right side of the brain, this is where God dwells. When the right side becomes active, this is your creativity. This is your flow state. This is when you are in contact with God. So we need both, right? We need the reasoning, we need the understanding, we need the intellect, but we also need the flow state, the creativity. So this is important to understand. The right brain, what does it give us? The right brain gives us length of days. Length of days, so life. Length of days means longer life. So when the right brain is activated, it gives us longer life. When the left brain is activated, it gives us riches and honor. Listen, the left brain needs to be sharp. You need to have a sharp intellect. You need to have a sharp mind. It's going to result in riches and honor. Because if you have a sharp mind, you can create riches in the world. The only reason that somebody's rich and somebody's poor, there are a lot of factors. I'm not going to say the only reason. But it really boils down to the sharpness of a person's mind. If a person has a sharp mind, they can create wealth. Their left brain becomes active. Now, the right brain is relating to life. You don't need intellect and reason and logic to live life, to simply be a piece of life, to be. Meditation. You don't need to think things through and analyze everything. That's what the left brain is for. When we go into meditation, we have to leave the left side and go to the right side. I'm going to be making a lot more videos on this. I'm going to be really breaking this stuff down, going into the deeper stories of the Bible, Adam and Eve, Exodus, Moses, all of these things. I'm going to be breaking this stuff down as we move forward in the future. I already have some outlines created and ready, and I'm just trying to figure out how exactly I want to present them. So if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. We're going to have a lot more powerful content. That's the last verse that we're going to cover today. Next week, we're going to go over the remaining verses of Proverbs chapter 3. But this video hopefully helps you understand how you can live a long and happy life, and the difference between the left hand and the right hand, and why the right hand, the right brain, is where God dwells. That's why we will be with God on the right hand, or Jesus is with God on the right hand, on the right hand of his throne. This is deep symbolism, guys. I can't wait to dive into it much deeper in the future. I will see you around. Thank you for watching this video. Leave a comment if you gained value. Hit the like button to support the channel, and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you in the next video. Much peace and love.